Hello there, Internet. Hello there, YouTube. Welcome back to the Hunter Gamers continuing series of live streams doing solo hardcore runs of the game X-Men Legends 2. Today, we're going to be starting off Act 3, heading into the core. As is tradition, we always go for the hardest area first. And we are playing as Scarlet, which I would argue the only F tier character in this game. Certainly the worst for a solo play. Certainly the worst for a solo hardcore play. Anyway, let's get in there. Let us go and start.
Let the games begin.
Because this is not going to be especially quick. Now, we have gotten... So the problem with Scarlet Witch is she doesn't really have... she doesn't really have damage mitigation, she doesn't really have damage, and she doesn't really have CC. She kinda has nothing. She can mitigate some melee damage, bounce it back at people using this, which is somewhat useful. It can kill you, it can protect you from being stun locked to death from certain enemies. You definitely need it. This is her best AoE, and it's kind of terrible because it staggers the damage out over 3 DOTs, and while it does CC them for the DOTs, you can't apply a new set of DOTs before, a new set of new CC before they will womp you. So it's kind of just like a little visual bug where it's like, realistically, the ability just does its damage really slow and kind of CC stuff while it's doing it. So it's not really a true DOT in the sense that you can't stack it. You can't. It's just not a very good ability for some reason. They just really reduced its time to kill. Now this one actually does good damage. Reality Shift. That I don't know why, but that number ain't the way it is. In reality, it does a lot more than that. But it's extremely slow projectile with a very, very slow casting animation. Its usability is very low. We do have this buff for buffing our damage, and it's not terrible. It does get a lot better as you invest in it, and we will eventually get some points in Hex Mastery as well. What we do have going for us is extremely good equipment. We've got 2 best in slot. Well, not quite. This is a best in slot item. This is not quite. I mean, this is not, holy grail best in slot because of these other affixes, but it has everything you want. This is not ideal, but that's fine. Anyway, so yeah, the situation, we have been grinding, we have actually been doing danger missions, we have been doing bonus objectives, because I don't want to... I want to have as many levels as I can on this character. This isn't like Rogue, where like once we got... once we had enough points in... I forget what the ability's called. The one that bounces damage back, the one. Once we had enough points in her invincibility button, we kinda didn't have to take the game all that seriously anymore. There's never going to be a moment where Wanda unlocks an ability that strong. She's already got her ultimate, and that's as good as it gets. And her ult is, like, it's not the worst, but it's not a good screen clearer. Pardon me, I'm just, plugging my phone in. My bad, apologies. Dying here, so anyway, yeah, we shall continue on. We're really going to have to creep through the core. Because we just can't afford to be mobbed by core punishers. Or, we get absolutely beaten to hell by them. But what we can do is we can use this. And that ability does actually deal with core punishers quite nicely, as you can see. Because even if they start changing seeing you, they will typically kill themselves before they kill you. Unless they have some large form of damage amplification. I can also buy a level as soon as I don't know why I ate a mana potion there instead of a health potion, but that's what it is. And these guys are jerks. We do have one of the few abilities in the game that can potentially deal with them quite neatly because it can just box them, but as you can see, even hitting them is not very predictable and it costs a lot of energy to spam it around, so... But as you can see, the damage is also quite nice. So. Yeah, so what we're going to try to do here is we're going to try to play angles like this. you know, where we can. I don't know if the buff really helps us against them, but it is what it is. Just want to try it out. Whoops, wrong button. And that ability can technically turn things into boxes even through combo shields and stuff, so it has some utility that's not, like, worthless. It's just too slow.
I'd have thought you'd be more trouble.
And part of the big damage is because we do have really, really good equipment. So these, when you're seeing it doing 300 damage and stuff, that a lot of that is equipment. We've just gotten very lucky on our drops, which is always something that can happen in this game. So, you know. And yeah, you can see how much space we need. We have to kite everything. You know, we can't really like. You know, we can't just kind of run at stuff. We have to try to be a little bit tactical, pick things off. Pull the ads, peel the onion, you know, do the usual thing. Also, I don't know, I probably didn't mention this, but quite surprisingly, my PC is basically ready. So we're gonna hold this just to be safe. And this is the problem with that ult, is like it doesn't necessarily kill the problem, and then like these guys, some of them might just insta-pop when they come back to outside, but they also may not. So whether or not you can like drag them into another fight like this, it's all a bit dicey. Anyway, we don't want to be on that side of the...
I believe you belong. I can feel.
What do we got here? Damn. We really need an upgrade on our belt. So when I saw a red belt, I was like pretty hyped. Anyway, let's continue with combustion. If we can, then yes, Amplify Luck is good, Hex Mastery is good, but, you know, it's about that time where we're going to have to start sort of Sophie's choicing it with our abilities. You know, some of them are getting points and some of them aren't. And yeah, we just literally loot barrels until these guys decide to interact with us. And the boxes aren't the worst thing ever, especially for a solo player. Like, it does, you know, it does improve your resource situation just a tiny bit.
I'd have thought you'd be more trouble. Not going to get any easier, you know.
Shake that healthy belt. Okay, I can get turned into a box. This is maybe a little bit dangerous, but we can.
That was quite enjoyable.
See, as long as you're patient, clear your space, play the corners. Kite. You know, 90% of it is just patience. You know, you can clear this game with pretty much any ability if you are patient enough. There are some that, you know, it's hypothetical, because I genuinely think anyone will eventually run out of patience and make a mistake. If we're talking about some of the stuff in the game that is like properly slow. Like if you were genuinely trying to clear the game with this, one shot at a time, slow projectile, misses half the time, randomly whiffs into the sky because of janky auto targeting, all that sort of stuff. Eventually you're just going to get sick of it. Almost fail because you want to fail at that point. Because you make the game so like repulsive to play, basically, that you, on some level, you don't want to play it anymore. You actually want it to end. But yeah, the new PC will definitely open out the possibilities for streaming. You know, I can do more modern games. I can do things like Darktide, like Vermintide. I mean, Vermintide's not modern, but you know, even Rivals or something. And in all seriousness, we're kind of doing this like relatively pain-free, but I can promise you a big part of that is just the gear we've found. We've been so lucky. Like, we're actually one-shotting if you factor in the radiation damage. So we only need to like hit a mob with combustion once, and we just kind of ignore them and wait for them to die after that. So we have hit a really crucial breakpoint, and you know, we have an upgradable gear piece, so we should be able to hold this breakpoint down for a little bit longer. But eventually we are going to get to a point where like the gear we're using is just kind of okay compared to what, you know, the stuff that we can have for our level compared to what the game assumes we could be using. You know, because it's going to be like 2 times 15 damage, so like a total of like 60 damage or something, versus like 40 damage or 50 damage on a normal non-rare piece. So, you know, the power spike we'll be getting will not be that great. But for now, we 100% we want to, you know, feast while we can and just take full advantage of it to clear this area quickly, because it's going to fall off, and it's going to fall off hard unless we get extremely lucky. With drops and continue to have, you know, really extremely good gear throughout. The funny thing is, if you go up here, it will actually kite enemies from this room because they can see you there, which is a little bit derpy, but it is what it is. And yeah, we should be safe just walking through them. They don't have any dangerous auras or anything. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about the new PC, but also like a little bit anxious and stuff because I don't know how much of a difference it's going to make. I think it's going to make a pretty big difference because I've been playing a lot of Rivals lately, and the way I have to play that, like the extent to which I have to downscale everything, like it's really muddy. It's really hard to make stuff out, especially when there's a lot of particle effects and stuff like that. And it's like I'm trying to track things on the screen with my eye, you know, so my crosshair can follow it. And when I can, my aim is quite crisp, but then sometimes I just can't because there's just too much like, I don't know how to explain it, but basically I have to mess with like the scaling and stuff to actually make it, you know, to actually get like a passable frame rate. Because I don't think you realistically can play a game like that at like 50 FPS. You don't, or people who do don't understand what a competitive disadvantage they are playing at. Because a lot of things that move in those games, like even just something being right in front of you and like AD strafing, you know, can literally look like it's basically teleporting, and it's like, okay, well, how do you hit that? Like, if there's no movement, if there's no smooth movement for your eye to track, how does your crosshair track it? Because what's guiding your crosshair placement? I don't know. I could be wrong, but I have spent a lot of time trying to like understand mechanics and trying to refine my mechanics in games like shooters, because I was very late to the party on shooters. I never played them, you know, outside of like, you know, GoldenEye with people on the couch, you know, on the Nintendo 64, you know, or like Quake 3 Deathmatch, stuff like that. You know, screen share. outside of that, I never really got into any kind of
that direction.
competitive shooter or deathmatchy shooters or anything. So when you come into those games as like a noob, it's really bad.
I believe so.
It's like you're so lost. Everything happens so fast, too fast for you to process. And then you rush everything. So, you know, a big part of like aim and stuff is like slowing down. And then it's like, because it's like, I don't know, if you're a certain level with your aim, right? At a certain skill level, then you can make a certain shot in a certain amount of time. Because the way to like hit difficult shots is to like aim small. Like the smaller you flick, the less chance you miss. So it's like the first thing you want to do is you want to just get your crosshair like near the thing that you're trying to shoot, and then so it's like if I have to move my crosshair from like one side of the screen to the other, like if I'm, you know, let's say this is a three, you know, let's say this is like third person shooter, this is Fortnite, right? And you know, it's obviously, this is not how a third-person shooter is going to look, right? But let's say I'm looking here, and this guy is behind me, and he's in here, and like my mouse is here because I'm holding an angle here, and now suddenly there's a guy, you know, who's like right on like the periphery of my screen, and I need to like flick all the way across the screen. Now it's like, I promise you, the chances that you actually flick your gun onto like specifically onto their head or something in one movement from that distance, very low. You know, but if you go like that, like just get in the general area or even overflick and then correct, then you are Gucci. But the thing is like the correction can take a moment, you know? And this is why, like, I think this is why people rush their aim, they miss. Because when you rush, you are trying to make unrealistic flicks and you're not taking the time to actually like 100% know that your crosshair is on target before you press the button. And then you miss, and then you get frustrated, and then you miss more. And it's like at some point you just give up aiming and start spamming. But I promise you, the thing is to slow it down. The thing is that, and this is like why aim is so brutal, is that it's like, if the person on the enemy team doesn't have to slow it down and they're hitting the shots, like that's it, you just automatically lose every 1v1 to that person. There's nothing you can do about it. Like if they can flick to you,
I'm even stronger now.
before you flick to them, like it's like, yes, you can flick your crosshair to them and take a shot and miss, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, in the time it takes for you to actually line up a shot that you know will hit, by the time it takes you to actually get your crosshair on them and know it's on them and pull the trigger and have an impact, like you're already dead before you can do that. And so then you're having to rush it, and then you're going to miss, and then you're going to die anyway because you missed. And that's not because you're bad, that's just because someone is better at aiming in the lobby than you. But it's that thing of like, oh wow, you get completely rolled. And you never know. Is it their ping? Is it their FPS crisper? Do they have a bigger monitor? Is it easy for them to find their head? Because all those things will give you a big advantage. I don't think things like your mouse pads, I think that is all kind of overrated. But at a certain point, if you take it all very seriously, then you probably should invest in a good mouse, maybe all that sort of stuff. The hardware advantages very undeniable. But the problem is like, if you're good at the game, you can play around bad hardware. But it's not a fun way to play. I promise you. Like, you will 100% you will lose fights and know that it is your hardware. You just know it, or you will miss shots and know that it's your hardware. And it's a horrible thing to know. You just be like, oh, because I'm like broke right now. You know what I'm saying? Because I have to like keep my PC for like a good number of years. I can't just kind of go upgrade it the moment something like better and flashier comes out. Or I don't have insurance on my build or something, you know, where I get regular upgrades, whatever. Like, there's a lot of things that people do, which is like, props to them, you know, if they can afford it. Congrats, I'm all for them. All for them doing it. But it's like, I feel like hardware, at least hardware advantage, is very much like breakpoint based. It's like there are incremental bonuses that you're going to have if you have slightly better ping than someone, slightly better FPS, slightly bigger monitor, slightly higher resolution, you know, slightly clearer graphic setup or display setup, you know. So you have all those tiny little advantages, slightly better mouse, slightly more better optimized, you know, sans, a slightly cleaner mouse pad, or just little things like that, right? And it's like, oh, it makes a difference, it adds up. But I think the big differences are just like, you know, are you playing on an office mouse or a proper gaming mouse? Then at a certain point, you're probably going to want to get rid of a cord, or have some kind of clip for your cord that holds it out of the way, because you will 100% miss shots because of your cord. I'm just telling you, I've been there. And then you'll start to notice it pulling back when your mouse control gets good. And then you want to swap to something that has like a clip or a holder or a guide wire or something. And you know those little like guide wires, like the setups they have. And they're really good. But I just went for a wireless myself. And I don't think at that point, like, the point I'm at is like I could not imagine like losing a 1v1 in a game and blaming it on my mouse at the point I'm at. And I know for a fact there are better mouses, but I don't care. Like, if someone's gonna beat me because they have a $500 mouse and I have a $200 mouse, like, okay, fine. I don't think that they actually will, realistically. I think having a mouse that you personally like and are used to is more important, but that might be true of their mouse too. They may love it. They may love their $500 mouse. Maybe the perfect setup for them, you know, ergonomically and everything. But either way, I don't think the differences on those sorts of peripherals are that big. I think a good keyboard is good. Small keyboard, very specifically, that you can get out of the way. I think the big advantages are like, you know, big breakpoints in terms of refresh rates on your monitor, size of your monitor, and then just like overall like quality of your system and GPU and ability to like hit important breakpoints or frame rates and stuff like that. I think in any kind of competitive shooter game, about 120 FPS should realistically be considered the minimum if you want to actually like play and have a fun time. And I also tend to suggest that a lot of the reason why mobility characters in games like that are such good pump stompers is because a lot of casual players do play on, you know, they have like a 55 hertz monitor, it's like an office monitor, you know. They play on a laptop, you know, they couldn't get 100 FPS if they wanted to. Even in Overwatch, where the animations are like relatively smooth, at 55 FPS, at 55 hertz, you can't track a Genji that's in your face. Forget tracking his head as a Cassidy or something. Like, you can't track him at all. But even at like 70 FPS or something, it starts to like be like very followable. And at like 120, Overwatch at least, at 120, Overwatch is very smooth. Even on the lowest graphic settings, Overwatch is very playable. But Marbles is just not as well optimized, and you know, it is a prettier game, it's just the reality of it. It's newer, Are these more braces? I would really love... Yeah, we keep getting braces. We can't get a belt to save our life, but it is what it is. Something will drop. But we're pushing through here quite nicely, so I just like... Yeah. Because I have been streaming a little bit more regularly, I'm just kind of on the ball a little bit more and, you know, doing this the right way. Because there is a right way to do this to make it safe. And it's just about making sure that you don't take fights in a space where you can get ledge. You have to make it impossible. If it's possible, it can happen. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you don't go on the road, you can't get hit by a car. Like I'm not gonna hit a car on the road. Okay, let me put it this way: if you're in like a forest, you know, and you're like 10 miles from any road, you're in like a big public park. You're in the middle of like a football oval or something. You know, you're not gonna get hit by a car. You don't have to worry about it. Like you don't have to worry about it. It's not gonna happen. You don't have to dodge cars. And if you insist on being on the road, then you've got to get good at dodging cars. This could be nice. What do we got here? Yeah, it's not nice. What a shame. What a shame. But yeah, I've been running my mouth about how great I am and how well I'm doing. I can't mess it up and get smoked. And that guy was holding like all the energy buffs. He just had them all. Alright. On the last one, let's not fumble it at the gate. Let's be double super safety sure of everything. Okay. I honestly think putting combo shields on ranged enemies was not a good design choice. I think both from like the standpoint of like engaging the player, but also being dangerous. The best enemies to have combo shields on are things like core punishers. Like high damage melee enemies that are going to run into you and CC you if you can't kill them quickly. And that's what the combo shield gives them a chance to do, is to start CCing you. And I think it's a waste on a ranged enemy. Because if it's on a ranged enemy, you just end up ignoring that one ranged enemy until everything else is dead. And then it's just kind of like, makes killing him just like a patience check, where it's like, oh, okay, he just shuffled away out of my combo. Ooh, he shuffled away out of my combo. Ooh, he shuffled away out of my combo. Oh, shuffling. Not much you can do. But a lot of the stuff in the core is just a patience check. You know, this is a long mission, we're half an hour in. But part of it is just because you have to play slow. You can't afford to take risks and run through it. But we have been doing relatively well. I can't deny it. Like, there's no... Gear in this game is very strong. It's like I don't know, if you were playing as a bad, melee build or something in Diablo 2, right? Usually you're not going to have a great time. But then it's just like, oh, okay, you just randomly find like a bone snap, and now it's like, oh, okay, well now it's like I can just like clear the whole of Nightmare and have good damage and just do it quickly. If I'm on like a druid or something, I can use it. But similarly, you could find a Bloodletter or Head Striker, any weapon that's just randomly going to completely hard carry you through Nightmare at least. And you guys have seen me do that. Like I did that with the Fireclaw Druid, where we just had Obedience, which is like it's a very farmable weapon. If you want an Obedience, you can go get one. It's not saying the game can like keep away from you. You can 100% target farm it. It could take a little while, but you can do it. And when you have an Obedience on a Fireclaw Druid, you clear hell pretty comfortably. Like, we cleared most of it on, like, high player settings and just one-shotting stuff. Because even things that are fire immune, like, you just have a huge chunk of basic physical damage. And then you have a massive amount of Crushing Blow. Alright, we'll just wait till he wants to actually interact with us, because we can't force it.
I believe you've lost.
And these are very much an enemy that just kind of wastes your time and dicks you around. They're not very dangerous, but you can't afford to have a pack of them just following you around the map everywhere. Because what happens if you do run into something dangerous? And Undercloaks are dangerous also in the sense that there are some things in this game that are really nasty if they just are allowed to exist. Like the radiation aura, where it's just something just exists and is near you and is draining your health. Well, now you can't kill it quickly. Because these guys are like unbelievably tanky.
I believe you've lost.
But honestly, this is not the worst. Like, when we do get damage on them, we do a lot. And we always just have the option of one-shotting them with the box. It's nicer when you can throw them, because you can just throw them over that pit. But Scarlet Witch is not a character who can throw even normal-sized enemies.
Negative.
Yeah, wow. Well, we've been absolutely, like, drowning in gear, but none of it too amazing, unfortunately. I mean, I can't complain about the equipment that we do have. We have incredible stuff, but I just like to see lots of items, because the good items will drop. If items are dropping, good stuff will drop. Just be patient, give it time. I mean, there you go. There's our upgrade for our belt. We're not going to be able to use it like
no credit
right away, but it's still going to be great when we can. And otherwise, we're just stacking the bills, And you know what? Let's grab a level. It's pricey, but it's a free level. Some stats, it's some skills. We need them all. Wow, I haven't even been doing my stats. This is how strong we are with this equipment. That, like, I'm not even sort of thinking, oh, I need to put stats in. I'm so weak. And we're going to get both of those. We probably will want 1 point in Hex Explosion at some point. So all this does is it can resurrect someone, which is, you know, in team play, it's not worthless. And we've already hit that Sophie's Choice point now where, you know, all of our kind of banked up skill points have been used. And now we have to pick. But it's going to be fine, to be honest. And here we are coming into the boss area, which it's a little bit grindy, primarily because of those undercloaks, but if we can pick them up like this, and because we're just getting the job done damage-wise, we can kind of be a little bit of a goof in the way we take these fights. I don't know that I want to go down here right away. I forget. I always forget which side to go through first to do it optimally. It's fine. It just means we'll have to do about 10 seconds of running back through a cleared level if we do it the wrong way. Now, Reality Shift should be a radial. That's how I would have made it. I would have made it a radial that just has a chance to turn. And because it's a radial, make it like a 5% chance to turn an enemy into a box. But make that like its main feature. Like give it a big AoE, a fast cast time, and like not particularly great damage. But basically make it an ability that like you spam to turn enemies into boxes, and then you can blow the boxes up with Hex Explosion. Now you actually would have some synergy and it would be interesting and fun. But having it like this slow cast time, yeah, it's not the greatest. But it's crazy to me, because if it literally just had an AoE, even like that AoE, it would be... pretty cool. Or another way I would like to see it used is like... I know in a game like this, you're never going to see this, right? It's too complicated a system. But it's like, instead of giving it a 10% chance to do something, make it so that every time you use it, it builds a charge. And when you have 10 of those charges, you can just turn someone into a box for free. Now it's like, you can kind of use it to like pick off the normal guys and then use the, you know, and then turn elites into boxes, like specific target like that. And it would still not be a particularly strong ability, but it would be fun to use. But yeah, something like that would be cool. Like if I were, you know, doing a kind of Diablo 2 reboot style. Okay, so I did go the wrong way.
What you do more trouble.
It's fine. Honestly, I'm gonna see if I can kite a bunch of these guys and I don't know, maybe just like hit a big ult. And maybe even do the same thing here, just like pull them all together. But this is what I mean when I say like her ult is not particularly great. Like if I invest 2 ults in most characters, we just kill everything in those rooms, you know?
It was quite enjoyable.
But it is what it is, it's fine. You know, we've been making do with her abilities thus far. I think we can continue to. It's just, you know, it ultimately comes down to like how much time do I have to spend farming and how much time do I have to spend progressing. I really hate that barrier. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't just go this way first. It saved me a lot of time, but it is what it is. Now we have unlocked the boss, and the boss should be safe. You know, the one thing we do have is our single target damage is not woeful. It's pretty decent actually, especially with all the good equipment we have. And you know, it is ranged, and bosses have big hitboxes. So the fact that it's a crappy slow projectile, you know, we can play around that relatively easily. Sugar Man just kind of walks in a straight line. He's a very big target. This guy is an asshole. I hate this guy. I hate these guys in general. But I've talked about it. I think they're a really badly designed enemy that, you know. Poorly thought out. But also not that bad if you're playing the game with full 4 characters. So I kind of do bring a lot of this on myself, and I shouldn't complain too much. Like, you know, I shouldn't complain about the fact that like these guys get to exist for so long, because if you play with 4 people, you do so much more damage. They do not actually get to exist that long. You know, even if you're not playing into synergies and group buffs, you just have more characters spamming more abilities, so you have 3 times the damage. Now, I could grab an extra extreme, but I think we'll be fine. Wonder's extreme doesn't do great damage to bosses anyway. I mainly just want to get potions, so...
Did you want something?
Yeah, so this will actually be good at level 30 because we don't have...
Luckily, one size fits all.
9 is honestly better than that. Oh, okay, we have this for level 30, so we don't need that. It's fine. Alright. Don't actually need to buy anything. Let's just get our buff on, go in there, and kill this guy nice and quick. And this has actually been a pretty quick episode. Maybe I can do some danger room missions or something to round it out. Assuming we don't die. We could die. Sugarman can kill you. But if you have range advantage, you should not die to Sugarman. The other thing is there are so many boxes in his boss arena that you can actually farm extreme tokens in here if you need them. But as you can see, our damage is not weak, and as long as we play our range advantage, it's like, yeah, he can CC us down, but we're too far away for him to actually get any follow-up damage. And as you can see, that's not a boss killing ability. Even against this huge lump, though, we can still just straight up miss.
Your punch is a lot tougher than you look.
Okay.
But that wasn't too bad, and I wasn't really expecting it to be bad either, not with all the good gear we have. Because when you do have the range advantage on Sugar Man, the only thing that's going to kill you is you making a mistake, and the only reason you're going to make a mistake is if you are just doing it for too long, you get bored, you get frustrated, and the only thing that can frustrate me is my ability just whiffing off into space, and Lord knows I'm used to that by now. That already brought me close to the brink of insanity in Act 1. It is what it is.
Great.
There you go. I'll leave.
No.
Honestly, it does go to show how strong good gear is in this game and how much of a difference it makes. And this is one of the things that I will say is that when I critique other people's builds, I know that they're not gearing right. Because they'll say oh, well, this character doesn't do enough damage. And it's like, well, they do plenty of damage when I use them.
You're quite.
And we're hitting the same enemies.
Shouldn't you be busy stealing? It's this good.
So go chat with Angel. That's the core done. Probably got some stuff I can sell.
You want something?
Yeah, not a lot really. But still something. And I'll check the danger room, we'll see what we've got. But maybe this will just be a shorter stream tonight.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Honestly, with no qualifying exam, not really worth doing. We do have a level. And yeah, levels are going to be a little bit boring now because yeah, we're kind of just leaning into our build now. Nothing is really going to change. getting Hex Explosion will be something, but it's not gonna be a big feature of the build. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap this up here because that's the core done, and I don't have enough time to push on and do the Infinite Factory tonight because that'll take maybe not another hour, but close to. So yeah, thanks to anyone who tuned in. Really glad, and catch you on the flip side tomorrow. I may or may not stream, pardon me, because I'm going to be setting up my new PC, so presumably, assuming it arrives tomorrow. But if it does, I'll be setting it up tomorrow, and you know, gonna have a lot of things to download and passwords to enter and things to tweak and drivers to get and games to download and all that sort of stuff. And it's probably going to take a little while, but you know, there's no reason why I can't have OBS and X-Men Legends on it by the evening. Anyway, thanks to anyone who tuned in. Glad to see you. We'll catch you on the flip side tomorrow. We continue on with the Infinite Factory, and we might push on and do the Madra Temple as well, depending on how early I get to start.